and really how to hold that inspiration in your energy system when actually the very last thing that you feel is inspired. So I'm going to just make sure, brilliant, I see people coming in now. We are working with some new technology, so kind of figuring out what to do as we go along here. Now we've got Naomi and Jen also supporting, so they'll be in the comments just helping guide you with any guidance that you need as far as places to go or information. And in a little while, we're going to get to some questions and answers as well. That's what I really love about these live webinars, is the chance to really, go anywhere that you need and to be able to answer your questions. So I want to speak first, and I want to talk a little bit about this energy of inspiration. I see some of your fabulous comments coming in. Hi, Hansi. Hi, Bev and Kathy. So awesome to see you here and know that this platform is working. It's always a great thing. Oh, I hope you've got a very good cup of tea or something that you love. I have had an awesome day today. Some of you know that we have puppies in the house. Our dog gave birth to 3 puppies 2 weeks ago. So yeah, the days are full of distraction and joy as we kind of just watch these little beings gradually getting more and more activity. So let's have a little think about the energy of inspiration and breath, because they're so closely tied together. Right now, this month is a very special energy for the energy of breath and lung. If we think about breathing in, then of course lung becomes the most essential part of your energy system, most important organ for breath and bringing in freshness. And inspiration really comes in on the breath. So we're going to be looking a little bit later. I know we've only got half an hour, but we're going to be looking a little bit later at ways for you to connect some of your really deep and powerful energy systems into your breath. Because when you can connect them together, I'm sure you know that instance when you're just really kind of shallow breathing and you don't have a lot of power coming in through your breath. And I'm sure you also know the times that you have maybe been doing some meditation or yoga or just relaxing when you're in bed and you feel your breath deepen, but it doesn't seem to do much. It doesn't seem to power you up. And that's the place that I want us to really unpick a little bit and reform tonight. Because if your energy systems are connected in to carry the energy of breath into your body, so it's a little bit different than the breath itself, but carry the energy of breath where it needs to go in the body. If your energy systems are doing that, then every breath empowers you. Even if it's a shallow breath, it still has that ability to be carried. The energy of the breath can be carried deep into every part of your energy system and every part of your cells. And that's what's really important. So I want to back up a tiny bit, because I said that this month of November is really closely linked to the lung organ and the lung energy system as well. So the meridians of the lungs, the way that lung carries in not just inspiration, but an aspect of trust, an aspect of being able to sift through some of the challenges in your life and find the kernel of awesomeness even in those challenges. That's all. When you have inspiration in your body, that's what can happen. Even a kind of sludgy, slow, kind of crappy day, you can find that kernel of joy, of trust, of inspiration within it. And the second you can identify that, everything about the day changes. So that's why this energy of lung, especially in November, is so powerful. Let's start with a very, very simple way to enhance your ability to bring that breath into your body. All right. So we have, what can you see of me? Let me move a little bit. one of the things that we're kind of figuring out with this new platform that we're working to simultaneously put this out on Facebook and YouTube. That's what we're trying to do right now. Amazing amount of videos on YouTube. So if you haven't gone there, then it's I think we've got over 250 videos all showing energy exercises or consciousness exercises there. But one thing we've learned about this platform we're using is that it's quite quiet. So I hope I'm speaking up well enough. If you need some help with hearing, then do let us know, because at least I can raise my voice more if we need to. Little glitches that we are figuring out. So let's have a little look at this amazing meridian system. So a meridian is just an energy channel. Yeah, that's all it is. If I ever talk about a meridian, all you've got to think about is way that a certain energy flows through the body. And your lungs have their own channel system, their own meridian energy system. And we're going to activate it right now. So do we need to do anything beforehand? I think possibly. Let's just connect the heart and the lungs first. So you're going to cross your hands over your chest, pop your fingers into your armpits, rest your thumbs wherever they want to go on the chest. If it's easy for you, put both feet on the ground. If you're sitting cross-legged or your legs are up on a sofa, then leave them there. Be comfy. But take a moment. Let's take a moment together. There's 200 of us right now on this call together. So that's a powerful group of people, yeah? We have a powerful energy amongst us and within us. So let's take a breath. Recognize that you're in community right now. And that community is a nourishing community. And you are an essential part of that. So taking a breath in and relaxing. Another breath in and relaxing, and really inviting. I wonder if am I back? Yes, I think I disappeared there for a moment, but all right. So really inviting as you breathe out that all air in your lungs can be given back to the universe. So often, if I was looking at the energy inside the lungs, let's say my forearm here is your lungs. When you breathe in, your lungs hopefully completely fill up with air. When you breathe out, they completely empty. But what often happens is that actually they don't completely empty. They stay half full of air that isn't beneficial to you. So then when you breathe in, you've only got this much to breathe in. So even if you take a full breath, your lungs cannot get that full breath. So breathing out fully becomes really, really key to being able to activate the fullness of your energy system. All right, so really every time you breathe out, let's have this as a conscious 25 more minutes or however long we've got to really concentrate on the out breath. What becomes amazing is that when you breathe out fully, you immediately, everything about your lower part of your energy system changes. When you're only breathing a certain amount of your lung capacity, then your energy begins, well, there's a few things that happens. One, it can get ungrounded. So rather than that amazing electromagnetic flow from above your head to below your feet and vice versa, instead of that energy really moving through everything that you are, it begins to it looks like a band develops around your belly. And that band tightens as your lung capacity gets less. I hope that makes sense. Naomi, I know you're there, so if you get questions for clarification, please unmute yourself and let me know. So you get this band around your belly. And sometimes if you're a really stable, resilient, grounded person, what happens is that although you have a band around the kind of lower ribs, upper belly area, you then have this amazing kind of bulge of energy that then grounds you really deeply. And it's not that important to your groundedness, but it is important for your digestion. Really important for your digestion, because if you've got that band around your belly, then your digestion is impacted, but also it restricts this amazing area at the bottom of your ribs, which is where your solar plexus chakra is, and your diaphragm. So when that begins to get restricted, what begins to happen is that you lose a lot of access to your regular energy, your regular power. So we really want that flow to be moving all the way through the lungs, so we don't get this kind of tightening or band of energy around the upper abdomen. All right. So I think I've explained why we want to breathe well, the importance of breathing out. And as you learn to breathe out more and more, what happens is the in-breath just takes care of itself. You never have to think about the in-breath. It's like energy and inspiration flow into you very naturally because you've created the space for that to happen. Think about breathing out as creating space. And if there's one thing that your energy system needs, if there's only one thing it needs, it's space. So breathing out becomes so important. All right. So we've done the heart hug exercise, which is so beautiful, and you've breathed out consciously. Let's work with this lung meridian. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a simple a breathing out first. So we're going to invite that energy channel to kind of let go of any congestion it's holding. You may or may not know that your hands are like amazing magnets. Yeah, they're literally supercharged with electromagnetic energy. Every finger has a different polarity. The middle of your hands, it's absolutely power packed. So you can think of your amazing hands as these magnets that can move so much about your energy field, and of course other people's as well. But let's activate those magnets first of all by just giving them a loving rub. You take your consciousness there. See your hands, feel, think, know your hands to be really powerful. Think of the time that you've held hands with somebody. The information that gets shared through the electromagnetic energy of your hands is amazing. So now you've activated your magnets. You're going to come to the nail of the thumb, and you're just going to stroke all the way up the thumb, all the way up we're actually following a channel that's on the inside of the arm. But with energy channels, unless you're using needles in acupuncture, don't ever feel like you need to be specific. So if I was actually wanting to work with the exactness of this meridian, I would be working a finger's width up this arm. But what I want to do is invite the meridian to work in its fullness. So actually, I'm going to cover, I could even do that. I'm going to cover a big section, yes, of the inside of the arm in line with the thumb, but actually above it as well, beside it. We're really working to invite that meridian to come into its fullness. Now my microphone's a little bit in the way, but as we come up over the deltoid, up over that muscle at the top of the arm, your fingers will naturally fall into the arm crease. And you're just going to hold your fingers there. Take a breath in and a full breath out. And let's do that one more time. So coming to the nail of the thumb, all the way up the thumb, all the way up that edge of the arm, over the deltoid, and just resting your fingers there. A really powerful way to invite this meridian, this channel of the lung, to release, to let go, to be able to fully empty your lungs when you breathe out. And now from there, so your fingers are tucked into a very powerful access point into lung energy. From there, you're going to go exactly the opposite. So you're going to trace all the way down and off your thumb. You can do that 2 times. Sometimes when I'm working, and especially if I've been working hard and I'm burning up lots and lots of energy as I'm sitting, thinking, writing, I'll do that. And I will just keep moving that meridian forward several times. I'll do it a couple of times backwards and hold it, and then just go forward several times to really clear and energize the space that I can create in my body. Let's do the other side as well. So coming to the thumb of the other hand and arm now, all the way up on the edge, slightly underneath, up to the shoulder, and just allowing your fingers to fall into that place where the arm crease is, and just hold it there. This is really powerful. Just having your fingers into this point really starts calling movement through that meridian. Should feel really lovely as well. It's another thing I'll quite often do is cross over both of my hands and just have my fingers resting in this, but maybe we'll get to that one in a second. Never feel like you have to hurry when you're working with lung. Breath has its own rhythm, its own pattern. And if we try and rush an activity when we're working with lung, often we just kind of skim a surface. Let's do that one more time, moving from the thumb all the way up. Ah, that feels great to me. And notice your breath even as you're here. Is it easy? Is it struggling? Is it short? Is it long? Does it have a nice rhythm to it? You don't have to do anything to it, but just notice it. When you take your attention to a part of your awareness, your body, your physicality, your energy, then your energy system begins to coalesce around that part of your physical, emotional, energetic bodies. And just the attention can do amazing healing and amazing balancing. So now let's bring that forward a few times, however many times feels good for you. Now I'm doing it at a speed that feels good for me, but maybe you want to go much slower. Maybe you want to go a little bit faster. Let's finish that one by touching the arm creases with, I've got all of the pads of my fingers here. My thumb's just kind of resting against the palm or the side of my hand, but this can be a beautiful way to, what can often happen when you hold these points like this, you're going to keep holding it, but I'm going to use my hands to describe something, but keep holding those points, is that a spiral begins to happen from quite deep in your abdominal area. That's where your lower dantian is, this amazing powerhouse of energy. And because the lung energy is going and fueling that powerhouse, then you get a spiral that begins to emanate up out of it, and it wraps around the lungs. And from there, the whole of your system lights up. Really amazing. Next week, I'm teaching on the nadis, the song lines of the bodies, and it's really linked to lung energy. So when your lungs power up your battery, your power system, it lights up everything about you. Amazing. All right, I'm feeling like it might be great to take a couple of questions, and then I want to show one more way that we can really work to inspire breath. So Naomi, how does that sound? I'm going to pop you up, I think. Yes, it works. Amazing.
Just a couple of feedback comments. Wendy and Lily have mentioned they were yawning a lot, and some questions about why we yawn from Yanessa, and also Martha just mentioning she felt a bit dizzy doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. So let me address those. Maybe Naomi, just mute yourself so that we don't get any feedback there. So yawning, oh, well, absolutely no wonder. We're working with lung energy. And what happens is when you activate lung energy, there is a body system that is responsible for moving, for carrying energy, for moving it everywhere in the body. And that is your liver energy. Now, I don't mean just the physical organ of the liver. Yes, that's involved, but actually it's the energy system that is involved with liver and governs it and is governed by liver. There's always so many interweaving paradoxes in your energy system. But what happens is that when you invite more energy into your system by activating lungs, the first thing your body system is going to do is say, great, where does it need to go? Where am I sending this energy? What am I using it to heal? Where is it going for the biggest benefit for the whole? And so that's where liver energy picks up. And liver loves a big compression, and then it boosts energy to where it needs to go. That's what happens when you yawn. You take in this great big breath, and often it will be a yawn of many stages, won't it? It's not just one seamless, easy yawn like when you're tired. What's happening is like almost a and then it breaks through into an external, an outward movement. So that's the system kind of almost grabbing and saying, yes, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. Now let it flow. So that's what happens energetically when you yawn. And that's also why it's so contagious, because if one person's energy system moves in a dramatic way, or even in a non-dramatic way, if it moves into more balance, that activates and inspires movement in other people's systems. So totally no surprise that when one person yawns and moves energy, another person yawns to move energy. We are so connected. And there was also that comment about dizziness. So anytime we kind of really put our attention on breath, that might be something that happens. And all I would say with that is slow down. Don't change your breath in any way. Just invite your breath to do exactly what it wants to do. And what will happen is that it will naturally deepen rather than us inviting big change by changing it. So allow your breath to almost follow your intention there. And I think you'll find, as long as you're breathing out well, that your in-breath will come in, giving energy. You'll ground every time you breathe in and out, and that dizziness will not happen. All right. Anything else, Naomi?
Thanks, Prune. Yeah, Denise just mentioned that she's able to breathe much more deeply after doing that meridian work.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I do want to say as well, some people yawn and some people burp or belch. Exactly the same thing. It's interesting. It's kind of, there is a difference in it. And when that happens, it's because the stomach energy is a really big grounder, and it holds you strong and it holds you central. So when liver's still involved, liver's still having to move the energy, but it's like it's coming from a central place in your body system. Many more people yawn when energy moves rather than burp or belch. But that's what's happening. It just means that if you are a burper instead, then, or both, then actually it's coming from a slightly different place in your body system. And generally, it means that you have a propensity for being really strong in your center.
And someone said, what about sneeze? Yanessa says.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Actually, that tends to run. This isn't a topic that I can go into a lot about the different elements that people hold in bigger or lesser ratios in their body. But people that have a lot of metal energy in them, they tend to be the sneezers. So the earths tend to be the burpers, the metals tend to be the sneezers, and everybody tends to be the yawners. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't go more into that, but there tends to be a constitutional difference there. Also, people that sneeze a lot tend to be big thinkers. It's like the head has to move and the head can get congested. So it's just another way of working.
Thank you. Julia's asked, is it okay that I can't deeply fill the top of my lungs? It seems like it wants to sink to the bottom.
Yeah, Julia, that's really, everything's okay about your energy system and about your physical system. What I would say is work with those exercises, work with concentrating on the out breath, and see if you get more connection to that upper part of your lung. And you might not, it might be working in complete balance, absolutely fine. You're just not really able to feel it very much. Or it may be that you're not feeling it because it's not as vibrant and vital as the rest of your lungs. So that's something for you to explore. Give yourself 3 months. Do these exercises, concentrate on the out breath, and then check in 3 months' time. How does that feel? Or maybe 3 days, however you're called to explore. It's your body, your amazing system.
Thanks, Prune.
All right. I would love to go, and I just want to make sure that we have time. I really want to show you how to deeply. So those were beautiful connectors, but I want us to connect something in even deeper. Okay, Naomi? So I'm going to just pop you off for a second so that you can see me fully. Because remember I said that there's energy systems that carry the beauty in the breath, the energy of the breath even deeper. So the exercises that we've just done definitely help with that, because they bring the energy of the breath really in through these upper sections, and from there it gets distributed. But there's another way that I really want to show us. I think I'm going to stand up. Hopefully everything still works for you to hear me. But with this one, we're going to, if you find your belly button, and you can stay sitting down. I'm only standing up so that you can see me. So find your belly button and come 1.5 inches, 3-4 centimeters below your belly button. Doesn't have to be exact. This is a really big area here that we're going to work with. And you're going to bunch all of your fingers and your thumb together, and you're just going to pop it into that area. Now, if you put your hands on your waist, and from the waist, you take your fingers right onto the spine. No pressure here. You're just connecting. So you could bunch all of your fingers together and pop on the spine in line with the waist. Or what's easier for me is just to lay the fingers flat, yeah? So it's easy if I just put my hand on my sort of kidney area with my fingers towards my spine, and then I just lay those powerful pads of my fingers on the spine. All right, so I'm going to sit down now because I hope you've been able to see that well. Now this activates that amazing lower dantian area. Remember how I said when you breathe and your breath, you keep your hands there. I'm going to use mine to talk. Remember how I said that when you breathe and your breath goes down into that powerful energy center, and then it begins to spiral up. Well, this is another way to work with it. So simply by everything else, keep it relaxed. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Slouch your back if you want. No need to be straight or strained here. So your fingers on that spine in line with the waist. The other fingers bunched, or the pads of your fingers flat in that area, 1.5, 2.5 inches below the belly button. It's a very big area that we can access that lower dantian underneath the belly button. So don't worry about being precise there at all. What begins to happen when we hold these points is, well, so much actually, far, far more than I can tell you in the few minutes we have. But what begins to happen as far as the breath is that that lower dantian area, which is all about your potential. Yeah, it's about your physical energy, but how to bring that out into the potential of everything that you are. That's why this breath energy, the energy of inspiration, is so important. Because if your energy system's running all kinds of patterns that maybe don't connect you with your potential, yeah? Maybe they're running, and you keep holding these points as I'm talking. Maybe you're running patterns from when you were younger, or your first heartbreak, or your first massive failure in a job, whatever it is. If your energy patterns are running little software glitches that limit the potential of everything that you are, then when you breathe in, there's a lot for that breath to move through and around before it can get into that lower dantian to really activate that energy of potential. But when you hold these points and then you relax into conscious breath, you invite that breath to breathe out fully, to breathe in as fully as feels good, you know? Often I see people really over breathing, and it's because they don't have the space in the bottom of the lungs because it's filled up with air that isn't energizing. So that's why I'd say the importance is really on the out breath. So what happens is that as you hold these points, you're inviting that lower dantian energy to really draw what it can out of the inspiration that you're bringing in, out of the fresh energy that you're bringing in. So that in turn begins to aid the breath. So by holding these 2 points in the bottom of your body, you're really helping everything about your breath settle, be taken where it needs to go. And also, I find it useful sometimes as I hold these points and breathe, even to feel the, the pressure of my body moving slightly into my fingers. So as you breathe in, your diaphragm drops into your upper abdominal area, and that just very gently pushes your belly out. As your ribs expand as you breathe, then the same thing happens on the back of the body, and your muscles are just very gently expanded along with your ribs. Now, when we kind of breathe shallowly and hold ourselves rigid in lots of ways, that natural movement of the belly and the back doesn't happen. So that's the other part. If I feel like I've got a little bit still, or maybe I've been at my computer for a few hours and everything's got a kind of a bit tense in my upper body, my breath has become much more shallow, then I'll come down, I'll hold these 2 points, and I'll bring my attention to them, knowing exactly what's happening energetically. And I'll bring the attention there and just invite that expansion as I breathe in, and the slight lessening as I breathe out. Ah, feels great. Okay. So relax your hands. If it feels good to you as we finish up, you might just bring your hands back up to this point, or maybe you feel like you just want to relax now and not do any more work, and that's fine too. Naomi, I'm sure we've got time for a question. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what, Ben, with that, I would just really work on this one and keep your fingers here as you breathe out. And even what can be great when we get tight in the shoulders, because the minute we get tight in the shoulders, what's happening is we're constricting the throat as well. That energy band comes in. And then everything about breath becomes more rigid. So what I would suggest there, and for anyone else who's kind of experiencing that feeling that the breath just isn't able to come in, is that you do movement with it as well. maybe you won't be doing this on the bus, but if you're in a fairly private place. So you'd have your fingers on your chest area and you just literally round your back as you breathe out. And then as you breathe in, you just invite your body almost to move from the bottom of the lungs and just lift a little. It's not about being rigid. It's not about being strong or straight. It's just encouraging, just as your lungs are doing, yeah? They're moving like those amazing bellows. So you're lifting your body as you breathe in, just gently, very gently, no strain in the shoulders, and you're rounding your back as you go out. That often is enough to kind of, it's almost a way of tricking your muscular system into, yeah, we're working, we're doing something, so we don't need to block. That's where I'd really start with that.
Made it clear what I was asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I hadn't put you big, so I wouldn't have heard. And so the question was about tension around the shoulders when you're breathing in. But there was also another question, Naomi, that Carla had asked. I didn't answer that. So can you just remind me of that one?
Yeah, I was just struggling with the exhalation is the thing that she finds harder to,
Yeah.
it feels like if she becomes tight when she tries to.
Yeah, that's really, really common. So it might be because there's no breath left to exhale, Carla, and that you've done it. And now you're just kind of trying to put out something that isn't there. It might be that. What is much, much more common is that energetically to get quite, well, rigid. I mean, I think I can use that word. The energy of it gets stagnant and a bit stale. So then you're always breathing in the top part of the lungs. But when you try and release it more, the bottom of the lungs say, hang on, don't really know what we're doing here. So they don't do anything. And then it's kind of like you're trying to push something that can't be moved. So give that some time, give it some patience, be gentle with the exploration of it. There's some amazing breathing techniques. One of my big favorites is to breathe in for whatever count it is. Maybe the count of 3 or the count of 4 would be very natural for you. And then to breathe out for the same count and half again. So if you breathe in for 4, you're going to breathe out for the count of 6. If you breathe in for 2, you're going to breathe out for the count of 3. So you're always going, those maths aren't right. So you're always going to breathe out for a bit longer than you're breathing in. And that can be a beautiful way just to start inviting the bottom of those lungs to begin to move.
Thanks, Prune. So we are at 8:35. So
okay, so I guess we're finishing. Thank you for joining me, Naomi. Thank you for helping me with questions, and I know, Jen, you've been helping in the chat as well. So yeah, very happy with this new platform. Seems to be working, and we will get it figured out more and more each time. Next week, I'm teaching about the nadis. You can find information at pruneharris.com, and that's in the monthly online classes. Really, really excited to teach about these amazing over 72,000 energy channels in the body that just hum and resonate with radiance. They're your big connecting channels. So that's next week's topic if you are able to join us. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.